Okay, Claude, here's the second installment in this very good book, as I said, by Dennis Prager and Joseph Telushkin on the 9 questions people ask. What's it? The 9 questions people ask about Judaism. So we finished off with Elie Wiesel. You can just recap that last week. So now we're starting with a paragraph called the need to posit God's existence. In other words, there's a reason why we need to know about God or to have some view. And the reason is morality. So it says here, the first value whose existence is dependent upon positing God's existence is morality. If there is no God, there are no rights and wrongs that transcend personal preferences. Gases and molecules, the laws of nature, are not good or evil, right or wrong. Okay? If the natural world is the one objective reality and there are no moral sources beyond nature, good and evil possess no objective reality. Moral judgments then become purely subjective. They are popular or personal opinions which are objectively meaningless and represent no reality. Okay, so in other words, the argument becomes, well, because let's say evil inflicts pain, I don't like it. But, that's not a good argument. Because some people will say, well, actually it's necessary to inflict pain. That would be the answer, and you can't really argue against that. Okay. Okay, so there are popular or personal opinions which are objectively meaningless and represent no reality. It is self-evident and acknowledged by the foremost atheist philosophers that if a moral God does not exist, neither does a universal morality. Without God, all we can have are opinions about morality, but our opinions about good and evil behavior are no more valid or binding than our opinions about good or bad ice cream. This is why in many secular societies, morality is generally considered to be a matter of opinion. As you know, I've been talking for years now about moral relativity, which is the outcome of this kind of approach. Moral relativism, interesting, is the only possible consequence of the denial of God's existence. Morality becomes a euphemism for personal opinion. As this century's most eloquent atheist philosopher, Bertrand Russell, wrote, I cannot see how to refute the arguments for the subjectivity of ethical values, but, Russell conceded, I find myself incapable of believing that all that is wrong with wanton cruelty is that I don't like it. Okay, so I've just made the same argument earlier on. Russell's second point is the whole point. All that can possibly be wrong with wanton cruelty, according to atheism, and its moral relativism, is that we may personally not like it. So amorality is inherent to atheism. Okay, in other words, atheism cannot be moral because it's subjective. To illustrate this point, if there is no God, assume there is no God and attempt to explain why Hitler was morally wrong. For the atheist and moral relativist, the only thing wrong with Nazi atrocities, as Russell said, is that I don't like it. One may answer that we know deep down that Hitler's mass murder and torture were wrong. But from where does this deep down feeling of right and wrong come? If there is no God, such feelings are just feelings, and objective morality must transcend objective feelings. And if in fact we do possess deep down knowledge of good and evil, what source of morality put it within us? Okay, and then he also goes on to say we can answer that the Nazi type murder is wrong for pragmatic reasons, citing the argument that if we kill them, they'll start to kill us and society will fall apart. This is not a moral argument, but merely a pragmatic one. In other words, just a practical view on looking at these things. And it is, in any event, invalid, since committing evil can be regarded as highly practical. In fact, pragmatic arguments usually favor committing the crime. The Nazis, for example, would have correctly dismissed the argument that if we kill them, then they will kill us, by noting that they would not be able to kill us. And as in the test of nature, only the weak will be destroyed. The pragmatic argument against committing evil is naive. If you can get away with a crime, there is no pragmatic argument against committing it, only a moral argument, which is often quite impractical. Take, for example, the relatively minor crime of tax evasion, which we've been exposed to. The pragmatic argument argues for, not against, committing the crime. The argument that if everyone cheated on their tax returns, we would all suffer, understandably dissuades almost no one from cheating. So, no one from cheating, including rabbis, okay? On the contrary, tax evaders are quite certain that nearly everyone else is cheating. That's the excuse why everybody does it. And it is precisely this fact that serves as their justification for doing the same. Everybody's doing it. I might as well do it as well. Okay? Precisely because one believes that nearly everyone else is cheating, he too should cheat. Otherwise, he loses. Pragmatism dictates immoral behavior at least as often as it dictates moral behavior. Or one may answer that reason tells us that Hitler was wrong, and in general, evil is wrong. Reason, according to this common attitude, suffices to lead us to moral behavior without the necessity of positing the existence of God. But is this so? Okay, so now we're going to talk about reason. Reason is used as one of the reasons to argue for the not needing God and being able to still know right from wrong. So here's the title of the next paragraph. It says, reason often suggests evil behavior. Reason rarely argues for moral behavior. In fact, reason can nearly always be used to justify immoral behavior, from supporting Nazism to petty cheating in everyday life. The use of reason to justify what is wrong is so common that we have a special word for it: rationalization. Interesting, huh? Rationalization. That's using reason to justify something which can't really be justified. While Adolf Eichmann and other Nazi murderers acted reasonably when they obeyed orders to murder people and thereby furthered their careers. When the average German citizen remained silent while his Jewish neighbors were shipped to concentration camps, he was acting entirely according to reason. Reason suggested preserving one's life and not endangering it by aiding a Jew. It may in fact be argued that among the only people in Nazi Germany who acted against reason were those who acted morally. Yeah, because they risked their lives. It's not reasonable to risk your life for another human being. It really isn't. To cite a more mundane example, by the way, even Halakha has a question about that. If you need to save somebody and you're going to be risking your life, it's not really permitted. Your life comes first, even according to Halakha. Although, it's much more nuanced than that, but that's the basic sort of underlying principle of what you do. To cite a more mundane example, according to the New York Times, 1 out of every 3 hotel guests steals something from his room. Since it is probable that most of these people consider stealing immoral, are we to assume that millions of Americans consider themselves thieves? No. Undoubtedly, most will deny that what they have done is thievery, although it is thievery. Okay? They rationalize their actions by claiming that the hotel overcharges and that everyone else also takes souvenirs, or that the towel or ashtray or painting will not be missed. In sum, reason is amoral. Not immoral, it's amoral. You can do what you want with it. It is a human tool that can be used as easily for evil or for good. Okay, then it continues, reason cannot demand good behavior, even when it suggests it. The preceding example should make it obvious that even if reason does offer... The preceding example should make it obvious that if reason often does not even suggest good behavior, it cannot possibly be relied upon to demand good behavior. And even when reason does argue for moral behavior, it is not reason that compels a person to act morally. Reason may very well have suggested to many Germans during World War II that they actively oppose Nazism, and to many Americans that they not steal from their hotel rooms. But it in no way would compel them to act accordingly. So again, you may have a suggestion. Maybe the reasoning can give you a conclusion, which possibly could say, well, actually, this is wrong or this is right. But it cannot compel you, like the mitzvah does. The mitzvah is an obligation. And for the few Germans who did actively oppose Nazism, it was not reason that dictated their moral behavior. It was a recognition of something higher than reason that compelled them to act morally. Thus, given these two facts, that reason can suggest evil and that it cannot compel good behavior, even when it suggests it, we can accurately characterize the notion that reason alone can or will produce moral behavior as a dangerous myth. Okay, so because reason is amoral. To return to our original question, if there is no God whose moral will transcends personal opinions, then we cannot say that Hitler was morally wrong. All we can say is I don't like it. The source of morality must itself be moral. And since reason is amoral, it cannot be the source of morality. That source must be something higher than reason. From the time the Jews stood at Mount Sinai to this day, that high reason has been called God. Okay, I'm going to end off here because it's 10 minutes. I don't want to go over that. And I hope that you're enjoying these arguments, Claude. And Shabbat Shalom. And happy birthday for yesterday. And I hope that you're still enjoying yourself. Shabbat Shalom.